So let's go to Kenny's top 10 NBA players of all time. Did you see that list?
No, I was too busy with helping us finish ours, and I'm so over list because I fundamentally don't like them, but they're great for discussion. And at our place we did our top 75, and it was like everyone was trying to figure out, well, let's make sure we get all these guys in. Like I think there was 2 guys that everyone had that I didn't. I didn't have Steve Nash top 75. And I don't think I had Paul Pierce top 75. And so everyone's looking at me going, how do you not have Steve Nash? He has 2 MVPs. I said, I'm not saying Steve Nash wasn't great. But one of them MVPs belonged to Shaq. The other one belonged to Kobe. And I didn't vote on those, so I don't care. I don't use MVPs. Oh, they got I said, especially awards that are voted on. I mean, we saw in the NFL a guy didn't vote for Aaron Rodgers because he didn't like him.
Yeah.
So I don't get wrapped up in the awards and saying, well, this means that guy is better because he won this many more awards or that many awards. And so, yeah, I don't have my whole ballot in front of me, but yeah, I know I had some guys higher than others. And I think for the most part, everyone's top 3 was the same for the most part. Or maybe even top 4. Once you got to 5 through 10 is where it got, 5, it got weird for some people.
Real quick before we get to Casey's top NBA players of all time, and the Nash stuff is interesting. But tell us more about why you don't think Paul Pierce is on this.
I just didn't have him. I mean, if I had to go 1 through 75, I just didn't have him in the 75. I mean, it wasn't like a personal thing. I don't have Paul Pierce's like 208 or anything.
That's the truth right there.
I mean, you had to cut it off somewhere. So, he would have been top 100, but I think I might have had, maybe I had, when I look at it, I say individual player. You got to throw out what the team did, this and that. I think as an individual player, I had as a player Vince Carter ahead of him.
Fair.
Wow.
No, that's fair. Vince was nasty.
Really?
And I don't think that's insane. I don't think it wasn't like I put, I don't know, Sasha Pavlovich ahead of him.
Laker legend. That's the interestingly.
That's the Cleveland.
Yeah, he was a Cav legend.
I don't think he was a Laker legend.
Starting 2 guard in the NBA Finals for LeBron.
Who wasn't there a Sasha on the Lakers?
Vujacic.
Oh,
yeah, the machine. The machine. Laker legend, the machine. Yeah,
there it is.
Maybe I did have Paul Pierce at 74, 75. I don't know, but I do know for a fact people were like, "You got to put Steve Nash," and I'm like, "No, I don't." I knew he was going to end up in there high. It wasn't like I wasn't going to knock him out, but I was like, I look at say just point guards. I could run off 10 point guards I'd put ahead of him.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think I didn't think it was crazy, but hey, what do I know? Just one crazy person's opinion.
No, our producer, Jesse, Jesse's big Celtics fan, big Paul Pierce guy.
Of course.
He's throwing something right now. He's throwing something. But
that picture of Will Kane has been smashed into 1,000 pieces.
I'm just like, he's one of the great Celtics, but he's, because somebody was like, well, he's the all-time leading scorer for them. I'm like, okay, so that's just one thing. I was like, a guy like Pierce, at what point in his career did you ever think Paul is one of the 10 best players in the league? It wasn't often.
No.
To me, that's just, it's kind of how I was looking at it, but you might have thought that about Tracy McGrady. So
conversation.
There's different ways to look at it, and then when you get into the whole, the team success thing, you'll knock McGrady for not getting out the first round, and you'll say, well, Paul won a chip, and then the counter would be, well, Paul won a chip because his homeboy McHale hooked up Danny Ainge and got him KG. We can do it all day back and forth. I might have snuck Pau Gasol in at 75. I don't remember. We did that thing so long ago. I know we released the list and I didn't get any crazy hate mail, so I guess I wasn't too crazy. It wasn't like I had Michael Jordan 7th, So
Well, so
I feel like that's the question though. Before you go, did you have Michael Jordan first or second?
first.
Okay.
I think I went Michael, LeBron, Kareem, Magic.
Okay. No, I want to hear what you got to say about my list, but real quick, because of Jesse and Paul Pierce, we had a question earlier of who's the guy that'll like set you off or close to set you off as somebody you deem disrespect. Jesse's Paul Pierce. Damien's is Russell Westbrook. I think I deem mine as Penny Hardaway. Do you have a guy like that? Like if you try to slander this man's name, we got problems.
I mean, see, I'm trying to think who get, I can't say Magic because no one really slanders Magic as a player. It's for me, like I said, living so close to the Oakland, probably Charles Barkley. Because I mean, we had a stretch in the Bay where there was this whole debate of could Draymond Green shut down Charles Barkley. And I was like, if you guys don't shut up, it's either Barkley or Shaq. Probably Shaq more than Barkley because it was the whole thing too. Is Shaq couldn't play in this era. What could Shaq have done against these guys? He couldn't shoot threes. I'm like, then I realized people have clearly never watched Shaq play. I mean, I've had some Shaq battles for real. I mean, I've heard people say, "Well, could Shaq handle the ball? He couldn't fit in today's game." I'm like, "Come on, wow. Really? Are we really going to say that about Shaq?"
That's wild.
I've heard some wild things. Probably because I had talked to too many people in the barbershop. Well, my barber used to like to do this thing. He would start sports talks and not tell people what I did for a living, and then let me jump in and annihilate people. Like, how do you know that? Because I asked them. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. And one of my friends told me one time, he said, just because you talk to these guys doesn't mean you know more about them than me. I said, okay, I won the argument then. Because now we're not even making sense.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Well, look, to not hold you in suspense any longer, KC's top 10 NBA players of all time. Number 1, Michael Jordan. 2, LeBron James. 3, Milwaukee Buck, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Laker.
4,
Laker legend.
Philadelphia 76er, Wilt Chamberlain.
Laker.
5, Laker legend, Magic Johnson.
Got a lot of Lakers up there, man.
Oh, it gets better.
You know what I said?
It gets better. No, go. I got you, Casey. Go ahead. Finish the list.
Rolling.
Keep going.
Number 6, Cleveland Cavalier, Shaquille O'Neal.
Nope.
Number 7, Charlotte Hornets' own Kobe Bryant.
That's disrespectful.
Number 8, Steph Curry. Number 9, Kevin Durant. Number 10, Larry Bird. This all kind of came about because I tweeted out on Sunday night. I said, yo, Steph Curry, top 10 player of all time, man.
That's not a crazy list. I mean, it's not crazy at all.
People were upset that Tim Duncan wasn't on there. That was like the biggest one that people had.
I mean, yeah, I mean, why? I don't know. I mean,
NBA champion, one of the greatest power forwards, if not the greatest power forward ever played.
You know why I knock him down?
Argument? I disagree.
I knock him down as a cynic because I say he's a center. I just because I'm with Jeff Van Gundy. He's a center. He's the greatest power. I said when they started listing Robert Horry as the center to keep him at power forward, I said I'm done. He's a center. I was like, what did we? Then remember the year they didn't, and Yao Ming got voted into the All-Star game, and they had a fit. Don't you put Timmy at center because now he can't get. He's a center. He's a center, and he's a center.
Wow.
Well, he played power forward next to David Robinson. After that, he's a center. It's kind of like that would be like me saying, I don't know, if you put, I don't know, Klay Thompson, not even know, like you put Steph and like a Jason Kidd together, you're going to argue about, well, who's the 2 guard, who's the shooting guard. They both played point guard. You just had 2 of them, and he was a center. I just can't. I get annoyed by he's the greatest power forward that ever lived. No, he's one of the great centers. And I think back in the day, here's another thing where I put about it too. Barkley made this point back in the day in TNT. Whenever the Lakers played the Spurs in the playoffs, in crunch time, Shaq always guarded Duncan. Duncan always guard Shaq. And I never forget that. I'm like, who is this guy you got on him? Go get him, Timmy.
Nazi Muhammad.
Yeah, go get him, Tim. But I mean, this, I get people. I mean, I love Tim Duncan as a player, but I'm always going to die on he's a center hill. He's not a power forward. He's a center. Because if you go through those old game notes and they're putting Robert Horry at center, come on.
Yeah,
this wasn't 2022 when Robert Horry was a small ball center. No, Robert Horry was a stretch four. It was all about protecting Tim's legacy as a as the greatest power forward ever. The same way you see how the Spurs dissed your boy Kawhi. They congratulated all their top 75 and didn't congratulate Kawhi.
I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Maybe they added later, but their social media had like Gervin, Duncan, Robinson. Like, congratulations to the Spurs, they made the top 75.
Nah, that's pretty disrespectful.
Like Kawhi didn't go out there and help them get that last one.
That's pretty disrespectful.
Oh well, I find it funny because hey, social media is made for pettiness.
Kawhi don't care.
He was like, why am I here? He was like, he looked like he was like, I don't even know why I got on the plane. He was like everyone's smiling in the picture. Kawhi's like, I just want to leave.
You think Steph Curry is a top 10 player of all time right now?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, if not, he's 11 or 12 at the worst. I mean. He's one of those guys where you look at it, you say he changed the way the game is played.
Yeah.
And we've never seen anyone who can shoot like him. Ever. And good luck finding another guy who can shoot like that. And people forget with Steph, he changed the way you had to play defense. I mean, forget picking up a 3-point line. You got to pick
him up 3/4 court. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you couldn't just let him walk, because there were a few guys who would shoot deep. Kobe would shoot from the logo sometime. There were guys who did it, but they weren't just pulling up routinely from like 35 feet.
Right.
And the only other guy in the league right now who could rival him at that is Clay.
Dame.
Yeah, Dame. But I get, Dame.
Trey.
Maybe Trey. But
it's a handful. It's less than
but they're not on the same. There's levels to it, and. Steph was he set the pace with that, and I don't think it's a question with him. He's one of the best we've ever seen.
Well, Drew H brings up a good point. He says Buddy has been shooting better than Steph since February 8th. So, that's a good point.
Okay.
Okay. So where is Shavano on your list? I missed that write up. Did he?
Who?
Shavano, Buddy.
Oh yeah. Okay. See, I don't want to. Why are we messing with?
I'm sorry, you're right. That's my bad. I'm sorry. You're right. Rick
Carlisle's getting to know him right now. It should be a fun experience for Rick.
Should be.
That's probably a whole lot of fun for Rick right now. But that's a good point to know that since February 8th, Buddy Hield is now the greatest shooter in NBA history. Move over, Steph. In the last 2 weeks, Buddy Hield has owned you. Never mind, we had the All-Star break. We had to play for a bunch of days.
Oh, man. There's so many things I wanted to ask the professor about what's going on here in the world of sports, basketball in particular. Well, let's go with this one. Some of the beefs that are still going on in the NBA. Ray Allen doesn't acknowledge Kevin Garnett. Michael Jordan doesn't acknowledge Charles Barkley. All on the 75 set. Do you think either one of those ever get hashed out?
Well, Ray and those guys took a picture after that.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, there's a picture out there of him, Yeah, but it still gave us classic social media material. KG looking like he's getting ready for a game. I'm just going to stare straight ahead while Ray Allen walks by me. And I just think Charles and Mike are forever going to be doing this with each other. But Mike is the pettiest person alive. I really believe that if Magic Johnson would have said, let's go to the court, Mike would have went out there and played.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Mike, that's just Mike. So, I don't even think, Mike and Charles is really a thing. It's just, they're like, Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence in life. They'll be doing this forever. Yeah, but even then, basketball beefs are so weird because generally my experience has always been they're over gambling debts or a woman. there's never really any real like it's like what happened. He talked to the girl I was talking to. I'm like, all these women, you guys are fighting over the same girl.
Every once in a while, it's a little stronger than talking to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I mean, I don't
enter Austin Rivers. No,
see. I'm gonna leave the Paul George and whatnot discussions out of this.
I ain't saying that about Paul George. I brought up Austin Rivers. You brought up Paul George. I think
I'm going to go ahead and just say, I'm going to leave what I see on social media and hear. Generally, most of these beefs aren't much of anything. Hey, if Doc could coach Paul George after what went down with their family, anything's possible. Even though Steph didn't let it go, as we saw in that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like I said, most of these I think I even wrote a story about it years ago. Most guys aren't going to do anything but talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to do anything about
Not Juwan Howard. Not Juwan Howard.
Juwan Howard.
Juwan Howard out there. First off, we got to define what an actual. I mean, people are like. I mean, I'm just chilling. Like he punched him. I'm like, some of y'all have never been in a fight. That's not a punch.
Come on, man.
Because if Juwan Howard at 6'10" had swung on a man with his closed fist, it'd have been much worse.
Yeah,
he kind of pushed the guy with his fingers. Yeah,
like he definitely wanted to put hands on him. He definitely. I want to know what he said to him. He wanted to put hands because I mean, Juwan was like snapped. Like I'm gonna put hands on him.
Wait, it's we would all appreciate this. He raked his eyes, McMahon. He raked his eyes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was, and then that just led to a whole new series of this crazy debates. Should Juwan get fired? No. Yeah. I thought what he got was fair. Then it comes, well, should Greg Gard be punished? Then you get to these whole cultural things that people don't understand. They were like, well, all he did was grab his arm and tell him to stop. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Where I'm from, if a man walking by you, you grab his arm, that's a confrontation. And I said, now you're getting in the cultural nuance. And then people are saying, well, how come this guy didn't get suspended? This back and forth, so on and so on. That was probably the highlight of, not highlight, but the most interesting thing of Sunday, because the All-Star game is so whatever until like the last 5 minutes. Outside of the fact that Steph was Steph was going to go out there and make Cleveland pay for booing him and his wife the night before. You booed that man's wife? Oh yeah, he gonna make you pay for this. That was the funniest part of the night because the dunk contest was
oh boy,
oh god,
no good.
The worst dunk contest of all time.
I don't know. I mean, because I more so remember the good ones. The bad ones are kind of like a big lump to me. But this one was pretty terrible. I mean, how many times was Jalen Green going to try that dunk? And I'm like, you got to get something at least in place where you miss like, I don't know, 2 or 3 attempts, it's over. You just can't have a guy going and going.
We need to go back to you get judged on the dunk you miss.
Yeah. I mean,
like, you get one chance.
I give you 2 chances, and if you leave your feet, that counts as an attempt. See, if you don't, they're like, well, that's not an attempt because it did. No, you leave.
Like he got up there and grabbed the rim, he just forgot the ball. Like I mean, to me, the funniest thing was Cole Anthony putting the Timbs on.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny.
Like, what is he doing? I said that was a straight for the culture moment right there. Pat Bev salutes him.
Absolutely, that was.
Pat Bev was like, "I see what you're doing out there." Pat was like, "Yeah, I work out in my Timbs."
The Magic had to have been just looking with their hands over their eyes because the man went up, I don't know what, 3-4 feet in the air with Timbs, came down, almost tore his patella on that landing with them Timbs.
I mean, all we needed was someone to go out there and dunk in flip flops. I mean. But yeah,
that's next year.
Gerald Green dunked barefoot. Gerald Green, one of the great dunkers of all time.
Yeah,
his blowing the cupcake out, the candle on the cupcake out dunk was crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is, people say we've seen them all. I'm like, you can still do a dunk we've seen and do it well. Like Obi Toppin tried to do to Zach LaVine, he just didn't do it as well.
Yeah,
it was. I don't think Obi was terrible. I mean, that last one to go off the backboard, just that there was no power. It was kind of like he just dropped it in.
Yeah.
And I think
we were all dead by then, by the way.
The great dunker spoil, like Vince did everything with force up there. It was like, oh, he really dunked it. Aaron Gordon, who got robbed a couple of times of a dunk title, dunked with force. Zach LaVine, force. I mean, this is like, I don't know what this was. I mean, and the guys are getting wrapped up in their props again. I was like, Gerald Green with the NF. I'm like, what are you doing?
That had nothing to do with the dunk.
I was like, did he just want to bring his phone out? Like, I don't understand what's going on. I said, at least the Tim's thing was funny to me. It could have been an epic disaster if he lands funny in his Tim's, and it's like, and I don't know.
Never try to dunk in Tim's.
I don't know what his shoe deal is with. Imagine if you're his shoe company, you're like, hold up, why are you dunking in their shoe?
And that's not just a culture cut. That's a deep culture cut.
Yeah, that is specific to New York.
I mean, like, I didn't know Cole was that deep into. I was like, man, he does this, but then he couldn't get the dunk off clean. It was like, oh man, let me just go ahead and watch Tommy.
Started getting mad at his dad.
Yeah, come on, Dad. Like, I'm like, when does Tommy start? I got to watch something else. I can't do this anymore.
Chris Paul, we found out, is going to be out for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Does that shift your expectation in the Western Conference a little bit? The Golden State Warriors, you think they're the favorites now?
Yeah, I mean, as long as they get Draymond back, and I think it makes for a very intriguing situation with Memphis. I mean, Memphis could get up to 2 now, and that could set up some really interesting things. Say if Phoenix falls to 3 and Memphis gets to 2, and then voila, Memphis gets, say, the Lakers in the first round. That could be a very interesting matchup. I mean, a lot can change with this now. I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, I think Devin Booker's going to, was an elite level player. Devin can carry them to a large degree, but Chris makes that thing go. And it's, as much, as good as campaign has been for them, going the rest of the regular season, maybe longer, with Cameron Payne as your point guard and not Chris Paul, is going to make a difference. So who they draw in the first round is going to be big. The way things are right now, you could be looking at them playing Luka. Could they be playing, Joker? You don't know who they're going to get. And in a 7-game series,
no, they're going to play one of the playing teams, aren't they?
I mean, depending on where they go, if they fall to 3, if they were to say go to 3,
example, I got you.
If they just fall to 3, that changes things.
Yeah,
a lot can change with this. And if they get Chris back by the playoffs, there's still going to be a problem. But you can get into that weird, kind of gray area where maybe he gets back so late that he can't get going again.
Yeah.
By the time he's going, they're down 3-1. And depending on who you draw, that could be a problem. Like I said, what if a miracle happens and the Lakers figure out, hey, we can at least win a series?
That would be a miracle.
That would
it would be a miracle since LeBron's, backing the bus over the GM now.
Who he demanded made the trade for Russell Westbrook.
I'm like, you know what? You can't absolve yourself of any blame in this now. All of a sudden, Rob won't keep giving away draft picks to make me happy. It's like, come on, man. But this is part of the LeBron thing. You get this with LeBron. Maybe when he's on your team, at some point in the year, he's going to say some things and blame, throw everyone under the bus. And either it galvanizes you or guys just stay mad. But it's going to happen. I think I had a coach tell me one time, one of the tricky things about coaching and having LeBron on your team is that no one will ever blame LeBron for anything. The media will all shift to this whole LeBron doesn't have any help narrative. Why didn't you guys play better for LeBron? And then the players on the team start feeling an immense amount of pressure. Like, if LeBron passes me the ball and I don't make the shot, it's my fault that we lose the game. It changes a lot. So, I mean, I kind of wonder what Russ is thinking.
Yeah.
Russ is like, you asked me to come out here. Now this is all my fault. And I watch a lot of Laker games. There's plenty of times where LeBron is catting off. I mean, he's throwing some passes like he's at the wine. Whatever. Let's see what happens. And he's having a great year, but he is by far not blameless in this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just crazy that it's like, oh, he's put the organization on notice. And then even the whole thing about I want to play with my son. It's like, you want to bully a team to draft your kid?
Who do you think you are, Dwayne Wade?
And then someone's like, well, will he be NBA ready? I'm like, what if his son's in the G League? What if his son's not even G League?
Stockton Kings, baby, let's go.
LeBron going to be in Stockton. I mean, I was just like, LeBron is on one this weekend. He's just going to say whatever. I'm going to play with my son. Then remember, he also said in that whole conversation, mid-level, no, I'm a max player. I'm like, someone's going to pay you the max at 40 and also draft your son.
Yep, to have you for a year and be stuck with your kid for 3 years.
You're going to clear out all this cap space to get LeBron on a max deal and then draft his son, who may or may not be an NBA player. We don't know, but the thing they were saying this weekend, people say he might be a second-round pick. And then someone was like, Bronny's not even the best player on Sierra Canyon. And I'm like, God, see, and I said I felt bad because now people are attacking the son like he said something.
Yeah. Well, look, the scenario that you laid out, would you think somebody gonna pay max and draft his son for a year? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And starting it forward for the Sacramento Kings, LeBron James.
Hey man,
starting it forward, LeBron James. No, Bronny. Yeah. That'll be.
Y'all didn't read the fine print in the I Promise contract. We've known about this for years. Like LeBron been creating jobs for black men for years. Like, come on, man. This one just happens to be his son.
Yeah, and you know what? If he can pull it off, I will be like, more power to you. Like, hey, imagine him being in the war room with the Lakers. He's like, not gonna trade up, right?
He in the war room with the Lakers, like just arms folded.
What we gonna do here?
The Lakers like, all right, we have Mikey Williams on the board right now. We're up. No, Mikey Williams. Go ahead and take Bronny. But he's been the best player in this class for the last 10 years. We're not taking Mikey. No, we're taking Bronny. Okay.
He's like, trade AD. Get into the top 5 and take my son. It's like, hold up. We can get him at 24. Man. I don't care.
We can get him at 44. Just no, not right now.
Now AD's back in New Orleans or something crazy.
and then 2 years later, LeBron like, well, if we had our draft picks, then maybe we're just old right now. We're not young enough.
Like, Sam Presti, the genius, he would have never done this. And I'm like, wow, Sam Presti, the guy who I said, yeah, Sam is good, but he also had 3 MVPs and he let one go to keep Serge Ibaka. Yeah. Well, I mean, I was like, we all make mistakes, but come on, let's not turn Sam into Jerry West now.
Facts.
I was like Rob over there just minding his business, saying weird things to people like he normally does, like making up stories about books he read. And LeBron just like, why don't we just go ahead and just remind everyone my GM is terrible.
Rob Pelinka going to pay Rob Lowe to come play him as the general manager. He's just gonna leave. He's just like, hey, just pretend to be me.
Like LeBron was like, yeah, we weren't dysfunctional here for about 18 months. We're gonna go ahead and get back to the way it used to be. They're gonna have Jim Buss there back in a week. The Rambis family, for whatever reason, is gonna be making decisions, and poor Frank Vogel sitting there with Kurt Rambis telling him what to do.
Frank Vogel on a day-to-day contract.
Game. And no matter how bad they lose, that's not the game that gets him fired.
No,
this one's gotta get him fired, right? I'm like, the Indiana game's got to be it. Nope. It's like, then you're not going to fire him because they had about 15 games this year where you say, you know what, you lose this game, you should get fired.
Well, not our problem. That's Jason Jones, the professor of the